In the vast ocean, there exist two evolutionary answers to the question of tenderness. They both belong to the family Sirenia, but they've taken different paths. One is called a manatee, the other is called a dugong. Today's story features the late giant of the dugong family, Steller's sea cow, also known as the giant dugong. It took just 27 years for it to become extinct. But hidden behind this brief tragedy lies a grand question about the path of civilization. When two distinct life forms or civilizations meet, why do they tend to devour the other rather than coexist? To truly understand the uniqueness of the giant dugong, we must first distinguish its closest relatives. The most obvious difference between the manatee and the dugong, these two herbivorous brothers of the ocean, is their tails. Manatees have rounded, fan-shaped tails that resemble giant oars. They mostly live in the tropical and subtropical waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Dugongs, like whales, have forked, crescent-shaped tails. They are primarily found along the coasts of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. The giant dugong, a member of the family Dugongidae, pushes the dugong's morphology to its extremes. Reaching lengths of up to 10 meters and weighing several tons, it's a gentle giant of the ocean. This divergence is a remarkable experiment in evolutionary history. Sharing a distant common ancestor with elephants, they chose to return to the ocean, using their massive bodies to conserve heat and their slow metabolism to adapt to the energy rhythms of seagrasses. Their gentleness isn't weakness, but rather a highly specialized survival strategy. However, this survival wisdom, based on specific circumstances, fails when encountering humans. In 1741, when the survivors of Bering's expedition landed on that deserted island, they encountered not an enemy to conquer, but a trusted companion. The giant dugong's gentleness is a success in their ecological niche. No predators, no need for suspicion. They even attempt to rescue a fellow harpooned animal. But this trust system, which has operated for tens of millions of years, is facing challenges in the face of human efficiency. Hunters exploited their mutual aid habits to lure and kill them. This encounter wasn't a dialogue between two equal civilizations, but rather akin to an ancient, unfortified city encountering a modern army equipped with sophisticated weaponry. In just 27 years, this unique maritime civilization was completely destroyed. Their gentleness became a precisely exploited weakness. The tragedy of the giant dugong is a profound metaphor. We can imagine manatees and dugongs as two very different civilizations. Manatee logic, perhaps more resilient, more widespread, and adaptable to diverse environments. E.g., traces of them can be found in both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, symbolizing an expanding, adaptable, and somewhat defensive civilization. Dugong logic is more focused, developing certain traits, such as extreme gentleness and social bonds, to an extreme within a specific ecological niche, such as warm, shallow seagrass beds, symbolizing a sophisticated, restrained, and trust-based civilization. The giant dugong represents the pinnacle of dugong logic. It proves that a civilization focused on harmony can thrive in its own world. Tragically, however, human civilization at a certain stage has adopted a different principle, a predator logic of boundless expansion, viewing all others as resources. When predator logic intrudes upon the perfect world of dugong logic, the latter is almost powerless to resist. This isn't about who's right or wrong, but rather a fundamental incompatibility between the two rules. The extinction of the giant dugong raises a stark question. Does the development of human civilization necessarily come at the expense of other forms of civilization, whether biological or cultural? Are we destined to live in a competitive world dominated by manatee logic? Have we stifled the possibility of a world focused on internal harmony and trust, as represented by dugong logic? Today, we distinguish between manatees and dugongs, not to distinguish between two creatures, but to remember that life, and even civilization, could have taken such different forms and answers. Commemorating the giant dugong is not just about mourning the loss of a species, but also about trying to repair our connection with the world around us. Perhaps true strength begins when we can appreciate and protect the tenderness that is so different from us. Thank you for watching, and we'll have more exciting things next time.